Hey, what's going on guys? BruskPoetYT here, back with another new video for you guys, and what I've got for y'all is 30 moves that should be brutalities in Mortal Kombat X. Now, I asked you guys on Twitter to tweet me suggestions, and your tweet might get featured in the video, and I've got tons of people participating, and I'd like to say thank you to all who participated. Also, some of the suggestions you guys tweet me might not be in this video, just so I can make room for others. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Now, one of the first requests I've got was from Eric, and he requests Shinnoks flick, Tanya's drill kick, Boraicho's fart, Boraicho's monkey flips, and Kitana's fan throw. Now, starting off with Shinnoks' flick move in his Necromancer variation, I feel like this one could be an easy one to pull off by just flicking your opponent while using the flick move, obviously, and maybe the head can like bounce off or like flick off of the opponent's body, or maybe the torso will just flick off of the opponent's body. I feel like the torso part will be a little bit more funnier and entertaining to see because we've already seen the head blow up so many times, so I feel like the torso one is a better move to go with. Now, with Boraicho's monkey flips, this one kind of had me thinking, but I think I know how this one could come to reality if it actually existed. I think if you do the enhanced version of the monkey flips, I think the torso and the head will probably just blow up, and the arms as well, just slamming him to the ground and stuff. The final hit will be pretty cool to see and stuff. I don't know, just something simple. I don't see this being like a huge brutality, because not all the brutalities are like huge and like, oh my god, like fatality like, so I think this will just be a little simple one. For Boraicho's fart, at first I thought to myself, well, okay, I do want this to be a brutality, but how would it work? So I kept thinking and thinking, and I finally came up with how it could work, and that is having it be a throwback to Boraicho's fart fatality that he had in MK Deception. He already has a throwback brutality to one of his fatalities in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, so why not have it for Deception, right? Eric also requested Jacqui's throw, Kitana's staff grab, Cassie's glow kick, and Shinnoks' staff scoop. Now, Jacqui's throw was a brutality request I didn't expect to see, but just like some other brutalities that are obvious, this one is pretty self-explanatory. Once the throw activates and the explosion part happens, instead of the move ending with nothing happening, the move ends with the head exploding. This would also be a brutality that you would probably see often. Now, there's two types of moves I'm thinking of whenever I hear Cassie's glow kick. There's the combo string one, and then there's the special move one. Now, for the special move one, I feel like either the head or the torso will just fly off into the air and probably never land. It'll be cool to see and very entertaining, but as for the combo string one, I feel like the torso flying off would be the best fit on the final hit of the move, because it feels like it's just reasonable to do that, and it looks like it could exist if it actually did. Now, with Shinnoks' staff scoop, I can see two things being a possibility. One is that on the final hit, when Shinnok grabs his staff back, I can see the opponent's legs being ripped off. Or the second possibility, the EX version, once Shinnok launches the opponent up in the air, they fly high up in the air, and once they land to the ground, they explode into bits and pieces. I think that'll be pretty cool, pretty similar to Ferrotor's brutality. Moving on to Kitana's fan throw, which was also requested by that dude Gabe, and he describes it as Mileenas side brutality, so obviously like Mileenas side brutality but with a fan instead if landed correctly. Now, how I would do it is that if the move is landed correctly on the final hit, Kitana's fan will be impaled in them, and the fan will keep spinning around in their torso or their head or wherever it lands. It just keeps spinning in them. I think that'll be very brutal and perfect for a brutality. Now, by the request of 3 people, which are Mario, Eric, and my buddy Leone, all would like to see Kitana's staff grab from her mournful variation become a brutality. I feel like this one is kind of needed because she only has one brutality in the mournful variation, and her mournful variation never gets love, so adding a brutality to a move that is commonly used in the variation is something I feel is necessary. Now, how I would have the brutality go is that once you do the enhanced staff grab, and once they're hanging from the pole, instead of them hanging from the pole and like nothing happening, they will be impaled by the staff, and then they'll start sliding down with blood, like, you know, following up with that, while Kitana says, "You waste my time." Leone also requested this move from Dakita's Ronin variation to become a brutality. I can imagine the brutality being where the enhanced version will be the one you have to do to activate the brutality, and the last hit of that move will result in both of the opponent's arms being cut off. Following up with Dakita asking, "Shall we try that again?" Vincent asked for Kotal Khan's EX air grab, Liu Kang's throw, and Sub-Zero's ice hammer to become brutalities. Talking about Sub-Zero's Ice Hammer, like many others previously mentioned, is pretty self-explanatory. The final hit of an enhanced or regular version of the Ice Hammer will result in the opponent's head or whole body exploding. Moving on to another obvious potential brutality is Kodokan's enhanced air grab. When Kodokan grabs their opponent from the air, followed up with him slamming his opponent to the ground, instead of that being a combo starter, the opponent will explode into bits and pieces. At least that's how I would have it. I'm pretty sure that will be a very hyped up brutality for tournament players. Another person who requested Liu Kang's throw to be a brutality was Smokeman. More specifically, Smokeman says that it'll be a great throwback to the classic brutalities where they used to be so much different than they are now. The classic brutalities would basically be like a never-ending combo, but in the end of the finisher, it would end in the opponent exploding after taking all the fast-hitting combo hits. Smokeman also requested Kano's Cybernetic B+1 3-string and Kodokan's throw. Now, if you guys don't know which Kano string he's talking about, it's the one that you see here up on the screen. This one will most likely be resulting in Kano burning the opponent's face off and probably the head exploding as well, with his laser eye as the final hit. What would make it brutal is if Kano were to be shooting his eye laser in the opponent's face for about like 7 or 10 seconds. It'll be a great way to rub it in your opponent's face as well. Kodokan's throw is a move I thought would be perfect for a brutality. If it were to be a brutality, it looks like it can go where Kodokan is still bringing that sun pressure all over the opponent's body for about 10 seconds until they get burned to a crisp, similar to the one he has in the Sun God variation. Ermac's throw is a brutality Sensei Bop Part wants to see, and I can definitely agree. He also said that he would like to see the opponent explode on the final hit of the brutality once Ermac grabs the opponent, takes him high up in the sky, and slams them down to the ground. That brutality alone will make me use Ermac even more than I already do, and it will probably be a brutality that I will get often considering how easy it will probably be. Tremor's Aftershock Ground Pulse was upon the request of Tremor BD. Now, I feel like Tremor has enough brutalities because he has tons, and I mean tons of brutalities, but I wouldn't mind seeing one more. And it could potentially be another brutality where the opponent's legs shatter or just blow up into pieces. Uncle Earl requests that Tanya's back 2 from her Dragon Naginata variation would be a great brutality, along with Mileena_MKX describing it as, once it hits you, it stabs you through the heart and the heart comes out from the other end. This is some potential that should already be in the game. I mean, this is probably one of the best brutality ideas I've ever heard of. This would be very fascinating to see and probably one of the best brutalities in the game if it existed. Eric Leone and Mileena_MKX also wanted Tanya's Edenian drill to be a brutality. Now, like Tremor's Aftershock Ground Pulse move, this is another potential finisher where the legs get completely demolished. GamerTruth11 and Jacob say that Liu Kang's Windmill Punch should be a brutality. Considering Liu Kang is my favorite character in the game, this is a brutality I'm dying to see. This could also be ending up like Liu Kang's potential throw brutality, where it's a classic to the old brutalities that were in MK3 or UMK3. Mr. Spartan 1 requests for Goro's grab, or pretty much Goro's throw move. This one is also pretty self-explanatory. Goro's final hit in the throw, which is a punch, will result in the opponent's head, torso, and arms being blown to pieces. Ed Booney, or my friend Brian, says Kitana's fan NATO, to be honest. Now, I see a lot of Kitana fans request this, and I don't blame them at all. It looks like it could be a brutality. Now, how I would imagine it would come from the enhanced version of the fan NATO, and when the final hit of that move happens, the head, the legs, and the arms will all be decapitated from the body and spread across the stage. That would be pretty awesome. Jacob also says Sub-Zero's throat slice combo from his Cryomancer variation, Quan Chi's portal grab from the Warlock variation, and Raiden's Xray. Sub-Zero's throat slice combo is very interesting, and I can see this being a very unique brutality as well. On the final hit of the combo, when Sub-Zero lifts the ice sword up, I can see the opponent's torso and head, or like the torso up, being cut in half. You don't see too many brutalities where the opponent gets cut in half and like it's still hanging from the body. With Quan Chi's portal grab, I can see 3 different possibilities. The first one being the enhanced version where he stabs you in the heart with his sword from portal to portal, and the heart is sticking out of the body on the tip of the sword. Second can be from the regular version where he grabs the opponent's head and pulls him through the portal. The head will come off and that'll be all that's left from what comes out of the other portal. And the third can be where he pulls the whole opponent's body just like the regular version, but the whole skeleton comes out through the other portal. That would be mind-blowing to me. Raiden's X-Ray could potentially be one of the most simple ones and one of the most common ones you probably see online. On the last hit of the X-Ray move, which is Raiden breaking the opponent's spine, the finisher can end there, but with the opponent being broken in half. Serena Quina says Mileenas Neck Snapper. Now this is a move I didn't really expect to see and I don't think should be a brutality, but would I mind seeing it in the game? No, not at all. I'm all for brutalities. As you can see, the move ends with Mileena snapping the opponent's neck with her knee, and this will most likely be yet another simple brutality, with the opponent's head basically bouncing off once Mileena snaps the opponent's neck. Garrett Larson says Sub-Zero's Ice Clone Toss. I can personally imagine this right off the top of my head. Sub-Zero throws the Ice Clone, and the Ice Clone hits them so hard that their torso, arms, and head explode. Milena_MKX says Kitana's Shadow Kick from her Mournful variation. This also has two possibilities, at least in my mind. Similar to what I said for Shinnoks' flick move that he has in his Necromancer variation, once Kitana kicks you with this move, the torso will flick off of the opponent's body. That would be awesome to see, considering that I use Mournful the most. Mario says Mileenas X-Ray. The brutality can happen after she bites through the opponent's skull, giving them an immediate kill. Now, like I said, I'm all for new brutalities, but I don't know how this one would go. I mean, we already see what happens to the skull once she bites you in the X-rays, so what's the point of the opponent falling down and them just like dying or something like that? However, a suggestion popped up as a reply to that tweet by my buddy Anthony saying this: she bites your head off and the headless body squirts out like a fountain. Jason Adams says a brutality for Goro's X-Ray where he rips his enemy in half. There isn't much to say here considering he already explained what he would like to see in a brutality involving Goro's X-Ray. What I will say though is that I could agree on Goro getting more brutalities in his character. I mean, there isn't that much, or there's just not that much I see online, or even against the CPU. I really don't see Goro performing brutalities often. Lolita says Jacqui's up rocket or her full auto artillery keeps firing. Now if you guys don't know what he meant by the full auto artillery, he's basically saying possibly the most annoying move to go up against when you're playing a full auto Jacqui. Considering it is annoying, I wouldn't mind it being a brutality where she keeps shooting you. That would be pretty awesome, and it would also be one of the best brutalities in the game, and hey, I might even use Jacqui if that is a brutality. Moving on to Jacqui's up rocket, this one is also pretty self-explanatory as well. If she hits you with the up rocket, or if she hits you with the rockets while you're in the air, which is what the move is supposed to be, you will pretty much explode into bits and pieces, similar to how Jax is with his heavy weapons brutality. So there you guys have it. Those are the 30 moves that should be brutalities in Mortal Kombat X. Now I'm sure you guys have different opinions and you guys have different ideas from the ones I mentioned, so be sure to leave those down in the comments below. Also, I am going to be tweeting out this thing to Video Game Brian, which is Brian LeBaron, who is pretty much in charge of the brutality, so I'll leave a link to that tweet down in the description so you guys can retweet it and get his attention so we can see these brutalities listed in this video making it into the game. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and subscribe for all things Mortal Kombat. But anyways, my name is BruskPoetYT, and I'm out for now.